We asked storytellers to select a type of story and some words to inspire the stories that they tell.
Something from history with starlight and golden. I'm not sure if I'll be able to tell you a nonfiction piece. This is probably going to veer into a little bit of mythology for me. One of my favorite myths comes from ancient Mesopotamia. It's a story about this goddess named Inanna, who is the goddess of the morning and evening star, which turns out to have been Venus, but at the time they didn't know it. It was around 3,000 years before the Common Era, before what we consider time today. And she ended up becoming the most powerful deity in their polytheistic culture. So they had so many gods and goddesses, but Inanna became just the greatest for a long time. She represented the star. She represented the idea that there can be darkness, and in the middle of that darkness, one tiny little light that even when the moon isn't there, it can help people see where they need to go. Inanna's brother was Utu, who was the sun god. Their father was the god of the moon. Their mother was the goddess of the reeds, which were the plants on the banks of the marshy rivers. And so in this mythology, there is this idea that two great celestial beings were the product of the moon and the earth and the water. And I always thought that this was such a beautiful idea. It's sort of different from the concepts of religion that I grew up with, and I'm sure many people who are watching this grew up with different ideas too. The Sumerian mythology, in terms of how they thought of the different gods and goddesses, kind of went away over time. But there are seeds of it in the Bible. There was a flood that they talked about in Sumerian literature. I think many people are familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was discovered, I believe, about 100 years ago. And they talked about a great flood. And they talked about someone who survived that great flood and achieved immortality. Now, in the Bible, Noah didn't achieve immortality, but he did survive that great flood and became the patriarch of the human race as it existed today. There are other things that took place in the Sumerian mythology that were kind of the roots for what we see in the Bible. And I always think it's so interesting to go back and see even the things that are some of our most dearly held beliefs are really connected to what people have been thinking about since the very beginning of time. The way that the land and the sea and the skies emerged, perhaps out of chaos. That's also an idea from ancient Mesopotamia. The way that the celestial bodies that give us starlight, that give us the golden sunlight, are able to help us through the cycles of day and night. So that's my little piece of history about something from the stars and something golden. Thank you.